Hi everybody, I wanted to do a little introduction to the video you're about to see. I had a live blood cell analysis done on my blood at the end of April, so I'm just now getting to the point where I'm getting that video out to you all to see. And back in January, I had it done originally there at Dr. Joyner's office, who's there in Granite Bay, California. Been going there quite a bit to get some information and learn about some cutting edge things that he's doing there. And one of the things he does in his office is the live blood cell analysis. And the technician, Jon Leinert, was able to do my blood back in January, and then he did it again here at the end of April. So we kind of did a side-by-side comparison of where it was then and how it looks now. And thankfully it has improved quite a bit. So a couple of things that I'm doing to help myself, I'll just go ahead and share that. Enzymes, I'm taking proteolytic enzymes is what I call them. Basically they're enzymes that you take on an empty stomach to kind of help go in and clean out the undigested proteins in my blood. There's a whole host of other things that those are beneficial for. You can go to my website at HealthForwardOnline.com. I've got some articles there about enzymes. Another thing I'm taking is some amino acid supplements through Dr. Joyner's office. And then a third thing I've been doing pretty consistently is sodium bicarbonate. I drink that every day. Take like a fourth a teaspoon, or actually a half a teaspoon in a glass of water. Drink that once or twice a day. And that's a really good way to help balance your pH of your body. And it's really beneficial for a lot of other things, and I'm going to talk about that more on a future episode. Hopefully I will interview one of the authors of a book I just recently read about that. So anyways, here's the video for the live blood cell that I just did. And again, this is informational only. It is not meant to diagnose or treat any diseases. The live blood cell analysis is done just to give ourselves information about what our blood is looking like so that we can make an informed decision on what we want to do going forward. So here it is. So I'm back here again with Jon Leinert. He did the test last time, and he just pricked the blood and now put it under the microscope, and we're going to take a look here, see what we find. Alright, so we found something interesting here. So John, go ahead and tell us what we're looking at there.
So what we're seeing on the screen here, all these small little white dots, these are sugar crystals, and sugar crystals come from undigested carbs entering the bloodstream and crystallizing into sugar, little sugar crystals. And after some time, if these sugar crystals continue to be in the blood, they will actually form fungal forms. And it's a little bit difficult to see, but there's a little bit of structure right here. This is a little fungal form. And even let me move the screen here a little bit. I can even show you the evolution of that. If you look at this structure right here, this is a fungal form with a couple yeast pods right here. So we first start with the sugar crystals that ferment into a fungal form, and then if the fungal form's there long enough, these yeast pods actually spawn off the fungal forms. All of this is a function of poor carbohydrate digestion, and enzymes. Enzyme therapy can help to eradicate this problem.
So these are sugar crystals from undigested proteins, but what about
carbohydrates?
Sugar? Oh, carbohydrates. So is that from eating sugar itself? Is that a result of this as well? Or that's a different process?
No, it would be. It could be, but it also could be any form of carbohydrate, because all carbohydrates convert into sugar. So the issue here is if you're eating well and you're eating good forms of carbohydrates, and we're still seeing this, then we know it's a carbohydrate digestion challenge or issue. But if you're eating a bunch of junk food and things that convert very readily into sugar anyway, that could be the source of the problem.
All right.
Can you pick that up?
So now I'm being told I've got some very good looking white blood cells here. Yeah, it's coming through pretty well.
Yeah, this is what's called a neutrophil, and you can see how the leading edge of this, we call this the netting, is pushing out in this direction, and what's going to follow is all these granules inside. They kind of fill in this space. This is a very robust white blood cell. We don't often see them looking this healthy and this strong, but this is what can happen when you're on the right supplements to really kind of kick up the immune system and give it the boost.
So I'm happy about that. I have good white blood cells.
Never hurts to have good white blood cells.
All right, so now I'm told I have a couple of little parasites in here. Can you point those out, John?
Yeah, what we're looking at here is a red blood cell that's been infected with some sort of parasite. Could have been a bacteria, and as we see it enter the cell and start feeding off the hemoglobin, we just call those parasitized red blood cells. And actually, it's a little bit rare that we see two side by side like this, but we do have that situation here, and you can actually see the head here on this one and also right here on this one. And they tend to wiggle around and move around. They feed off the hemoglobin, and over time these cells will get very deformed. They will look all different sizes and shapes as the parasite is eating the hemoglobin from within.
So will a white blood cell come to the rescue and take care of these, or am I totally not? Is that not what they do?
No, it's interesting when we were looking, again, just below this, you can see here we have another one of these neutrophils, which is a very healthy looking white blood cell, and as long as the immune system is working properly and is healthy, then these parasites never become a problem in the long run. What we often see is the immune system's compromised. We will see a lot more of these parasitized cells throughout the sample.
All right, so now I've got uric acid crystals.
Which again, we're seeing rather small pieces of uric acid crystals throughout this screen. Uric acid crystals are developed through a process of poorly digesting protein, and when you have undigested protein in the bloodstream, one of the byproducts of that is monosodium urate. Over time, the monosodium urate crystallizes to form these uric acid crystals. So whenever we see this in the blood, it's indicative that if it's not obvious to us that there's a protein digestion problem by the look of the cells themselves, the fact that we're seeing these uric acid crystals tells us that there's been some sort of poor protein digestive process going on in the recent past. And so that just helps us get to a particular solution for that.
All right, so let's look at a good screen here. I've had some other somewhat negative news, I guess, but this John's telling me that this is a very good-looking picture here.
Now, what we're looking at, what we're focusing on right now is this gray area, which is the plasma. And of particular note here is we're not seeing any evidence of fungal forms or yeast or sugar crystals, for that matter, which are evidence that Russ is doing a pretty good job of digesting his carbohydrates. If he was not, in this particular case, we would see fungal forms in yeast here, and we're just not seeing it. And as we move around to verify that over several screens, it leads us to conclude that, at least for the most part, he's eating a good source of carbohydrates and his system is digesting those carbohydrates well.
All right, good. All right, so we just finished, and John's going to show us a before and after, sort of. Here's on the left what I did in January 13th, and today is April 23rd. So what do we got here? What's my improvement?
Yeah, so just the highlights. Last time, almost 3 months ago, what we were seeing was something called anisocytosis with large and small cells. Russ made some changes in his diet and supplementation. As we go over here to today, we can see that we didn't have any evidence or very little evidence that this is still a problem. If we go down further to what we call poikilocytosis, which are damaged red blood cells from free radical damage, we can also see there was a significant improvement here from 5 down to 2.
Okay.
And pretty much everything else stayed very good on this side of the page. And over here, 3 months ago, we had some significant evidence of yeast and fungal forms in the plasma. And again, when we come over here, we can see some very significant improvement into the 2-3 range. 2 is considered normal, 3 is just kind of on the border.
Okay.
So this was some excellent improvement. The one reverse trend we saw was in the uric acid crystals. Last time we weren't seeing any, and this time we're seeing a level 5 of uric acid crystals. So this will be the next focus for us.
Alrighty.